Hello, leaders. Hey, this is Paul Grau, and welcome to Run to Your Leadership Challenges, the daily show that equips team leaders to lead through the challenges they face every day. So, let me ask you, have you ever worked your butt off all day and then just felt like at the end of the day that you have gotten absolutely nothing done? Or at the end of the day, your to do list is actually bigger than it was at the beginning of the day? Or maybe you just feel so overwhelmed that you look at your to-do list like a deer is looking in the headlights, right? You're just like in shock. You don't know where to begin. Well, if so, today and the rest of the week, or at least the next few days, is going to help you out a lot. Because today, I want to talk about leadership priorities and how you can determine exactly what is the most urgent thing on your long list of very important things to do. Hey, before I begin, I want to remind you about our offer of getting in the current online community for leaders with a free 42-day trial period. Now, this offer ends at the end of the month, so it's not going to last very much longer. If you're teetering on that fence on whether you should try it or you shouldn't, man, just try it because you got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Hey, if that sounds like something you want, just click on the link in today's show notes, or you can email me at paul@clcteam.com and I'll send you the direct link. All right, let's talk about leadership priorities. So, first of all, I know that you are extremely busy, so I really appreciate you taking time out of your very busy day to listen to this show every day. I value the fact that you value this time, and I hope that I'm providing valuable tips and challenges for you every day. But if I'm not, or if you can think of any other topic, please send me an email and I'll be sure to research it and talk about it. So this topic of leadership priorities and priorities in general is something that I struggle with for a very long time. And, I've recently started to apply some simple principles or steps, if you will, that enable me to narrow down exactly what the most important thing on my to-do list is. Now, there's a few very good books on this topic, and some authors have dedicated a whole chapter on this in some of their books. And I know this is something that I struggle with from time to time, and I think most of us do, because if we're not struggling, man, we got it together, and you're probably not even listening to this show, especially now in the age of the Great Resignation. I mean, we are overwhelmed. Over the next few days, I'm going to be giving you several tips to help you with your prioritizing. And I know that if you apply these things, you will not only know what's most urgent and important, you will also be able to identify things that are not as important, and maybe you may not even have to do them. So this process is something that will allow you to stand out, because if done right, this will allow you to produce better outcomes than you have before, and it's going to be directly on your biggest priorities. Now, my mentor, John C. Maxwell, talks about the 3 R's in his book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And these 3 R's help him evaluate what his biggest priorities are all the time. Additionally, the book Essentialism by Greg McCowan discusses how to determine what your greatest priorities are simply by asking a few questions and then applying that system. Personally, I use a combination of several books, including these 2 books I just mentioned, and I've discovered several others over the years, so I'm going to give you kind of a mixture of all of them. First of all, I want to give you a little history on the word priority. According to McCowan in his book Essentialism, the word priority was originally only a singular word. Now, this is pretty important because you think about it. Priority, right? Single. It wasn't until the 1900s that we started putting priorities and using it as a plural word. Now, it kind of makes sense because you can only really truly have one priority. Because if you have several, there's one that's most important. And the tips that I'm going to give you over the next couple of days are going to help you determining what that most important one is. So the very first thing to do when establishing what your priorities is at this very moment is to ask yourself this question. And again, this is a combination of several sources. So the question is, what do I have to do that nobody else can do that will directly impact me and or the company the greatest? Now, this has a lot to do with your direct responsibilities and what is required of you, whether it's on the job or at home or wherever you are or whatever you're doing. So let me repeat that question because that's your challenge for today, and it's extremely important. This is the very first question to establish exactly what your priority is. So look at your to-do list or everything else that you know that needs to be done and ask yourself, what do I have to do on this list that nobody else can do that will directly impact me and or the company the greatest? Now, when you answer that question, you have answered the very first question needed in establishing your biggest priority. Hey, that's it for today. And we're going to pick up right there tomorrow. But don't forget to check out the offer and take advantage of this free 42-day trial period to get in the current online community for leaders. And if you can't click on the link in the show notes, just email me at paul@clcteam.com. Have a great rest of your day. And until tomorrow, run to your challenges.